tatati et tatata. Fait que on les introduit pour espérer un jour qu'ils en enlèvent leur sacré voile. Voilà.
So there's a new course over here. It's called the Course on Ethic and Religion. So we're very inclusive in the upper sphere.
Yeah.
So they include people, let's say, these young girls wearing veils, and then they think maybe in the near future that these girls, once they'll be integrated, they'll be able to just remove their veil. So.
C'est ce que d'ailleurs pense très bien notre ministre Saint-Pierre. Christine.
This is what our Minister of Education and Cultural Development, Ministre Saint-Pierre, believes.
So, et d'ailleurs, la Fédération des femmes du Québec, une vraie pourriture, qui voulait mettre justement les femmes voilées, autoriser les femmes voilées dans la fonction publique. Une autre farce, pour être intrusif, bien sûr.
So now one of the main feminist bodies in Quebec, the FFQ, is also pushed a motion to be able to ask the government that they will include women wearing veil as civil servants and in the public domain.
Yeah. Alors, si dans la haute sphère, on veut être intrusif, en faisant rentrer des connards qui croient absolument pas dans les droits humains, et puis on va les faire siéger comme ça au Conseil de résolution. C'est une farce. Puis en plus, ici, on continue la farce. Alors moi, je pense que comment voulez-vous être crédible? Comment voulez-vous éduquer des enfants à avoir une autocritique? Comment voulez-vous... alors, ou bien non, on dit la question où on change des politiques. On dit, faisons une sélection de notre immigration, une immigration qui, pas juste qui parle français, parce que Laouni, elle parle très bien français. Vous connaissez tous Laouni, elle parle très bien français. Elle a gradué d'ailleurs à Sorbonne en économie, alors c'est pas une conne, mais elle est voilée de la tête aux pieds. Elle voudrait faire du Québec, un Québec qui revient au 7e siècle, parce que c'était le meilleur des mondes. C'est le monde de Mahomet. Alors, c'est ce qu'elle veut faire. Bon, la question est la suivante. Bon, en dehors de parler français, parce que quand on veut faire une demande pour immigrer au Québec, si on parle français, on a un méga bonus. La question est la suivante. Bon. Est-ce qu'on pourrait faire changer nos critères de sélection? Surtout que là, maintenant, on veut abolir l'entrevue, parce que...
So there's a lot of openness, and we're allowing people to come in that have values that are not open, actually, and they would like to introduce their own standards and so on and so forth. So can we actually, in our immigration, have standard where we could actually pick and choose the people who are coming in, and that we can also reject people?
I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. If you even raise that issue, it is considered so horrible to talk about such things. And yet every country has changed immigration policies at some time or another. The United States did it in the 1960s. Before the 1960s, it was very easy for anyone from Western Europe to move to the United States. After they passed the immigration reform under Johnson, which Teddy Kennedy was very strongly behind, it became very difficult for people from Western Europe, that is from very similar cultures, to immigrate to the United States, and it became much easier for people to immigrate en masse from all kinds of other places. And so if the States was able to do that, why can't European countries say, okay, maybe we have enough Muslim immigrants for now. Let's bring in people from China who want to live in a free country and work hard. Let's bring in the Vietnamese. Let's bring in the Filipinos. Let's bring in the Hindus. Let's bring in Baha'i, people. Let's bring in Christians from Iran. Let's bring in Jews from Lebanon, etc. Let's bring in gay Muslims. Let's bring in people. I don't see why not.
We should just select specifically a specific immigrant based on.
And I also think it's fair to when an immigration. It's amazing to me, as I said to somebody earlier. I went back to the neighborhood. I grew up in Queens a couple of years ago, and suddenly it was populated by the Russian mafia. Where do these people come from? That, you know, I mean, they're all, the people who are sitting across the desks from people, you know, the functionaries, the government functionaries who make these decisions about who gets to move into a country, should be people who are skilled enough to sit across the table from somebody who wants to immigrate and look into their eyes, ask them the right questions, make an intelligent, informed judgment. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What's wrong with that? It's a matter of trying. We want people to come to the West who want to breathe free. You know, we don't want to come. We don't want people coming here who want to subordinate.
We also have a huge problem with our refugee system. Now, not just us, but Western Europe. I was reading last week that a plane went from Greece to Denmark, landed with 26 illegal aliens who then requested refugee status. So we have the illegal immigration into Greece, and then they get on planes, and they go to other parts of Europe and then claim refugee status. We have this amazing thing happening of all these refugees who can get on planes and fly all around the world and then land and they're a refugee, and we have to take them all in, whether they're good or bad, and that's a real problem.
You've described the problem that all of us face at great length. I was just wondering, do you see the problem as radical Islam or Islam? In other words, is radical Islam a political ideology that threatens us, or is it that Islam itself is an inherently violent religion? I have in mind the Crusades, where they tried to take over Europe several centuries ago. So is this a relatively new phenomenon, or is this something that goes back for centuries?
This goes back to the beginning. And when I first started writing, I said earlier that every year I see that it's deeper. And that it's darker than I thought it was. And when I first started writing about this stuff, I used expressions like fundamentalist Islam, radical Islam, Islamism. And the problem really does go to the root of the nature of Islam itself. This is not to say that all Muslims are complicit in bad things. This is to say that the religion itself, if you study it, if you read the Quran, you see that this is a religion based on conquest. It is a religion based on the oppression of women, very systematically and cruelly. It is a religion based on incredible hostility toward non-Muslims, etc., etc. I mean, Geert Wilders, whom I admire greatly, the MP in the Netherlands, the one thing that I do disagree with him about strongly is he has suggested that the Quran should be banned in the Netherlands. I think that everyone in the West should read the Quran. I think if we all read the Quran, there would be a lot less nonsense, a lot less confusion, and a lot fewer people would be falling for the whitewashing that we're fed by the media and the politicians. So yeah, the problem is really the essence of Islam, and as I say, there are many good people who are Muslims, but they're good Muslims not because of the things that their religion tells them to believe, but because of the ways in which they distance themselves from those things they're told to believe.
Just to quickly follow up then, should we consider criminalizing Islam?
Well, I think you just said, we're not talking about criminalizing, you're talking about having the Quran being published, inviting people to read them.
I'm from the States, so I don't believe in criminalizing Nazism. I mean, I think let the Nazis march, let's all read Mein Kampf so that we know what they're about. That's the way I think.
And maybe the best way to counter Islamism is by having more freedom and confronting them and using our freedom.
Yes.
One last question.
I'm better in French, then I'll speak in French. Okay. Or maybe a bit in English, okay? I'll try. Yeah, for me, it's a question of values. In our Western society, because of